Wagwan Rasta, where you there, fan?
Bro, I know I'm not Jamaican. It's for Taste Tape. The Bob Marley video? Can you just play along?
Alright, how to pick me them?
Your kids, bro. How are your kids?
Alright, Zine. You still there firing on your retrum?
Bro, I'm asking, are you still out of town or are you back? You know what? Just forget about it.
Alright, later. Yankee them. All right, welcome to Taste Take. If you're new here, today we're doing a spoiler-free review of the new biopic, Bob Marley, One Love. If that's something you're into, hit that subscribe button for your boy. For my regular Taste Takers, let's see how we feel about One Love on February 14th. Get it? I said One Love, February 14th. February 14th is Valentine's Day. The movie comes out on Valentine's Day, and the movie's called One Love. Never mind. Okay, quick background here. Bob Marley, One Love is a new movie from Paramount about the one and only musical legend, Bob Marley. They actually announced this movie back in 2018. Hollywood really be taking forever. But I know I wasn't the only one wondering why it took so long to make a Bob Marley movie. But this wasn't the first attempt. For example, did you know that in 2008, it was announced that Martin freaking Scorsese was set to direct a Bob Marley movie? Obviously, that fell through. Then, a couple years later, another Bob Marley movie was announced that was going to be based on his wife, Rita Marley's memoir. And do you know who was supposed to play Rita Marley in that movie? None other than Bob's own daughter-in-law, Miss Lauryn Hill. It's crazy, right? High key, that movie probably didn't even get canceled. They're all just waiting on set for Lauryn to show up. Well, not now. Anyway, in 2021, it was announced that Ronaldo Marcus Green will be directing this Bob Marley movie. You may not recognize the name, but he is a director of King Richard. Yes, that's the same King Richard that Will Smith won the award for Best Actor about 30 to 35 minutes after slapping the shit out. Anyway, he also directed Joe Bell. It's mad random that I like that movie, but it is a good movie. It's heavy, and it's based on a true story. Mark Wahlberg might have low-key, high-key been racist back in the day, but he makes a hell of a movie. I digress. In February of 2022, it was announced that Kingsley Ben-Adir was cast as playing the one and only Bob Marley. Ooh, you guys hired a British person to play a Jamaican person, the most popular Jamaican person of all time. Ooh, I'm telling. This was giving me all sorts of flashbacks to the Black Americans that were upset at all sorts of casting, like Daniel Kaluuya playing Fred Hampton, or Cynthia Erivo playing Harriet freaking Tubman. Now it's Jamaica's turn, and as a non-Jamaican, I'm here for all the discourse. How much credence do we give hiring someone just because they're from the same place as the person that they're playing? Do you want the accents to be perfect? Yes, of course. But do you also want the best possible acting and to sell tickets? Yes, again. Because as the story will have it, Ziggy Marley, who's Bob Marley's son, said they wanted to cast a Jamaican actor. And I don't blame them. We've seen enough bad Jamaican accents to last a generation.
Of course.
No, be a sister, no devil, no dopey. Everything gonna be irie.
So yeah, Ziggy and the other casting people did a global search to find the perfect person to play his dad. He said in his own words that it was Kingsley out of all those people that held his attention more than anyone else. Also, and I hate to do this, but am I the only one catching the absolute irony of being mad that a British dude is playing Bob Marley when Bob Marley's real dad was British? Just me? Anywho, fun fact, Bob Marley in real life was about 5'6". Kingsley Ben-Adir is freaking 6'2", so he was a little concerned about that. But Ziggy said he didn't care about that because in his eyes, his dad was a giant.
No audition, and I saw Kingsley, who plays my father. He was the one who kept my attention. Kingsley did a great job in an artful way, not trying to mimic my father. To be true to who Bob was, how he speaks, how he acts, how he sees the world. I think Kingsley, in bringing that human element, and not just Bob the legend or Bob the artist, but the human side.
Along with Ziggy being a producer on the film, his sister Cedella Marley and his mom Rita Marley were also a part of the process, which always goes two ways. On the one hand, you're happy to get the family's blessing about the picture you're making about their loved one. But then on the other hand, can that blessing become a curse where because the family's involved, there's less coverage in the movie because maybe an aspect of said person's life is a little less flattering than they'd like to put out? A debate for the comments, perhaps. Okay, back to the cast. Rita Marley was played by Lashana Lynch, and she's also British. They're taking all our jobs. I ain't gonna lie though, Lashana's parents are actually Jamaican, so don't be so vexed. She also wore this fire dress at the No Time to Die premiere, just in honor of her Jamaican heritage. Respect, Bibbs. One Love was filmed in London and Jamaica. You also love to hear that they shot at a lot of the places Bob lived and performed at.
In Jamaica, with the support of the Jamaican people, we traveled Bob's journey.
Being in the actual places where these things happen is very special.
It would be an injustice to not have Jamaica's energy in this film.
All right. Plot time. Bob Marley One Love mainly focuses on a few years in the late 70s. Bob is in the prime of his career and he's preparing for this big show called Smile Jamaica. The idea is that Smile Jamaica would unite two political parties that have been violently opposed to each other in this post-colonized Jamaica. Great idea, Bob. Unite the people, but not so freaking fast. Like 2 days before the show, some goons run up in Bob Marley's house and start shooting. Both Bob and his wife Rita got hit, but luckily they survived. Naturally, Rita doesn't think he should go through with the show since it literally almost killed him. But Bob ain't no punk. Them they call him on Tough Gong for no reason. He performs the show with bullet wounds in his arms that are less than 48 hours old. After the show, Bob tells Rita, all right, it's too much. It's not safe for us here. You take the kids and go hang with my mom in the United States. I'm gonna go to London with the boys. Which he sent her to Delaware with his mom. Your wife got to go to Delaware and you get to go to London? It don't seem fair. I know. I'm sure his mom will help with the kids and stuff. So it's not about turning up. Not everything's about turning up, Tate. I gotta learn that. I gotta learn that. Anyway, while he's in London, he's working on new music with a brand new sound. This reflective period is pretty much the basis of the entire movie, with some flashbacks to his childhood and teenage years, all culminating to see if Bob can go back to Jamaica and perform another concert for peace. Now we got a movie. So what's my take? If you watch my video on the greatest night in pop, I said, honestly, if you haven't already figured out that this YouTube channel is essentially a glorified Michael Jackson fan page, I don't know what to tell you. And since you asked, in 1975, the Jackson 5 actually flew to Jamaica and opened up for Bob Marley and the Wailers. See, look, there's Bob and there's Mike. Okay, but what does any of this have to do with my review of the film? Basically, what I'm saying is, in April of 2025, if the Michael Jackson biopic is done like this, I will be disappointed. But let me just try to break this down, because I got nuance. There's three camps of people I put in my brain as basically viewers of this movie. In camp one, we have the diehard Bob Marley fans. Then there's camp two. This is my camp. I'm in camp two. This is people who know Bob Marley, they know reggae, but Bob Marley died before I was born. When I was growing up, the reggae I was listening to was more like... Now this one dedicated to the girl with the angel. Sorry about that. I got carried away. Then we got camp three, and this arguably could be the most important camp. These people know the name Bob Marley, but they don't know the man or the message. And at the end of the day, I don't even think it's like Goldilocks where one of those groups gets the perfect movie. Group one already out the window, because a lot of diehard Bob Marley fans ain't gonna be able to get over the fact that Kingsley Ben-Adir is not Jamaican, which is unfortunate. Most of the cast is Jamaican. I hope they could look past it, but reality is reality. Group two, the casual fans like me, we might have the best experience out of the three. We know the music, but not the story. There's just a lot thrown out at you in this movie so quickly that it's hard to grasp onto any one thing. Then group three, the one that I said was the most important to reach. Yes, they are gonna learn, but I don't think the movie fully captures just how influential Bob Marley was. And of course, you're gonna say, Tay, it's just a movie. How could one movie capture the essence that is Bob Marley? I get it. You get a sense that he was big in Jamaica, but even the scenes in Europe doesn't really capture like how major he was. My good friend DJ Brucky once told me that Bob Marley is the most influential musician of all time. Hard stop. Now, of course, I'm gonna be taken aback by a statement like that. But when I sit back and think about it, this young kid, Bob, raised pretty much without a father, coming from a tiny island in the Caribbean, in one of the roughest parts of that island, makes it out to make music and take a genre of music that only their country knew, bring it to a global scale, and at the same time, the message of said music is that of peace and love. Yeah, that gets you in the conversation of most influential artists of all time. Let me put it for you another way. About 3 years after Bob Marley passed away, his greatest hits compilation named Legend was released. As of 2024, like today, it's been on the Billboard 200 chart for 820 weeks. It's the second longest run of all time. Thriller is number 10. I just don't feel like that magnitude is captured in the film. That said, there are definitely things to celebrate about this film. And y'all could debate me until the end of time, but Jamaican or not, Kingsley Ben-Adir did an excellent job. You can just tell like a pro, and he took this seriously. Of course, you're doing Bob Marley, you gotta take it seriously, but like there's just levels of professionalism and craftsmanship, and he is a master. There's even stories of him working on his Bob Marley in between shots while filming Barbie. He says he was most concerned about doing the accent. He spent hours and hours listening to Bob Marley interviews to get it right. Movies will typically have like 1 or 2 dialect coaches on set if necessary. This movie had 9. One of them being Stephen Marley, who worked personally with Kingsley to get it down. They even brought in soccer coaches and semi-pro players to help Kingsley with the soccer scenes. Soccer was a huge part of Bob Marley's life. It is not a big part of this movie, but you're bringing in pros and coaches. It's like there's a level of care that the movie is attempting to give. So I must recognize that. Kingsley spent countless hours of time just roaming Jamaica with Ziggy and like a bunch of other like OG Jamaicans, just trying to get a sense of the Bob Marley essence. He's talking to people on the island that grew up with Bob, that worked with Bob. He was like fully immersed in the process.
Going into Hope Road and seeing where he recorded just activates your imagination.
I wanna jump it with you.
We shot at Strawberry Hill, a location that played a huge role in Bob's life.
And that's where Bob went, and we went too, after the shooting.
And from a non-Jamaican, I thought his accent was pretty good. Here's some perspective. Kingsley's mom's parents are from Trinidad. Yes, that's grandparents on one side. Lashana Lynch, again, who plays Rita, her actual parents are Jamaican. And high-key, I thought his accent was better than hers. And that's about the last negative you're gonna hear out of my mouth when it comes to the woman named Lashana Lynch. She is a star and she kills it here. And that's kind of part of the high risk, high reward casting non-Jamaicans. Like, you got some pros here between Kingsley and Lashana. If I'm casting a Jamaican movie and I gotta get non-Jamaicans, I want these two. It's just good to see a strong black female role where even though she literally was Bob Marley's backup singer, you can tell wasn't nothing else background about her. Now, the real Bob and Rita love story would be a little more complicated than is portrayed on screen. But when it comes to the performance, Lashana is excellent. She spent time with the actual Rita Marley in her home, just trying to better understand her relationship with Bob. Next positive, we know that behind all the legend, the messaging, the superstar Bob Marley, it's the music. I spent about 97% of this movie nodding my head to that fire soundtrack, which all, of course, used Bob's real vocals, because there can only be one Bob. Anything else is just Bobby Socks. If for nothing else, I hope this movie introduces Bob Marley to a whole new generation of music lovers. I'm gonna give Bob Marley One Love 3 stars. And maybe that's a little bit on the generous side because I want this movie to do well. I think that because of how much story they had to cover, this might have been better as like a fire HBO series. It's just too much cramped into one thing. For comparison, because that's what we do, we compare stuff. Bohemian Rhapsody, great movie, great story. 2 hour and 14-minute runtime. Ray, 2 hours and 33 minutes. Get On Up, 2 hours and 19 minutes. Selena, 2 hours and 7 minutes. Elvis, 2 hours, 39 minutes. Bob Marley, One Love, 1 hour and 47 minutes. You see what I'm getting at here? That no make it. It's just not enough to get this story across. This is not like Spider-Man where we get like 2 new versions a year. Batman's like 18 Batmans flying around at the same time in Hollywood. This is the one shot you had at this. It's not every day we get a big blockbuster movie that celebrates the Caribbean and Caribbean culture. Not only is it not every day, think about the last time we got a big blockbuster Caribbean movie. No, like really think about it. And if you say Pirates of the Caribbean, I will find you and destroy you. Y'all could tell me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it Cool Runnings? Like 30-year-old Cool Runnings? And not how one of them Jamaican bobsledders actually come from, yard? Also though, fun fact about Cool Runnings, not only are none of those 4 bobsledders Jamaican, while they were filming, Disney actually told them that the accents were too strong and they needed to tone it down. Yeah, they said that they wanted the Jamaicans to sound like Sebastian from The Little Mermaid because they wanted people in Middle America to be able to understand them. And honestly, the director actually did tone down the accents, but he had to. Back then, the head of Disney was this dude named Jeffrey Katzenberg. He called the director at 1 in the morning and he said, look, if you don't tone down these accents, I assure you, I will find a director who can. So he toned them down. But if it was me, I would have told him, go suck your blood. Okay, that was a little tangent, but seriously, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Either way, the Caribbean is grossly underrepresented in Hollywood. And if I'm being honest, you would think Jamaica's the only island in the Caribbean if I let Hollywood tell it. Back to the movie. One Love just moves way too fast for you to get connected to any one thing in the movie. As soon as you're about to like settle into a moment, it's on to the next thing. That said, I really do hope that people give it a chance and don't just write it off, especially if the reasoning is not hiring Jamaican actors as the lead. Again, I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. Most of the actors in the movie are Jamaican. They filmed in Jamaica. They have Jamaican crews. They use Jamaican equipment. And who knows if the movie does well, how many people it motivates to fly to Jamaica. We all know that tourism is the bread and butter of the economies of the West Indies. Who knows how much this movie can move the needle for Jamaica. Also, Jamaica, since I have you, can y'all stop playing and let Bob Marley be a national hero? Basically, Jamaica has this system where they recognize people who best, I guess, represent the island. There's only 7 people on this list, but I don't know why anyone would be opposed to adding Bob Marley to the list. There are some legislators that have been, making a statement and a push towards getting Bob on that list, but hopefully maybe this movie can help move that along. They kind of got inspired by Barbados because we did a similar thing where we gave Rihanna, that kind of status. So follow our lead, Jamaica, and get Bob Marley on the list. Anyway, is this movie perfect? No. But me nitpicking about pacing and editing and whoever's complaining about British actors, this movie is bigger than all of that. Will we love movies to be perfect? Yes, of course. But I would also love more Caribbean stories. And I would hate to slow that progress because people are deciding to sit this one out. So I challenge you to check it out and judge for yourself. As always, thanks for checking out Taste Take. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. In the comments, we got a lot to talk about. So just let me know what y'all think about the movie. If you plan on checking it out, what are your thoughts on casting? What are your thoughts on accents? Which camp of Bob Marley people are you in? Let's just talk about it. Such a fascinating dude. Like, I may never get out of that Bob Marley rabbit hole that I'm in. And keep it real, did y'all know that his dad was white? Did y'all know that? Yeah. His mom had him at 18, and his dad was 60. If that ain't Hall of Fame grooming, I don't know what is. And his dad was barely around, but it was probably tough, you know, growing up in Jamaica as like a mixed race kid, and you don't know who your dad is for real. And he looked like John Wayne. Meet Rita at a young age, learn about the Rasta faith, join that shit, make music. It's just a lot that's like shaping him. It's just too much for an hour and 47 minutes of a film. Like, I feel like Mean Girls was longer, which was fire. I digress. Man, I really, this is the end of the video. That's still, yeah. Oh, and the freaking cancer. Good God. Malignant melanoma. Discovered because of that soccer injury. It didn't cause the cancer, but it was like a symptom of it, I guess. The legend has it, as a play on words, legend has it that the doctors told him, hey, you could just cut this toe off, and it's probably what we would recommend, because so we can try to stop the spread of this cancer. And Bob Marley was not fucking with any of that. Obviously, that makes sense for his beliefs. And he tried some holistic medicine, did not work. And I could imagine even maybe Bob was like, all right, doc, can you guarantee if you cut my toe off, this shit will stop spreading? And they're like, sir, we can't guarantee anything, but it is probably going to increase the likelihood that you have a longer survival. And this nigga was and Bob was probably like, nah, I'd rather just play soccer. And it's kind of sad, man. He died at 36. That's crazy. Yeah, check the movie out, y'all. Thanks for the time, y'all. Respect.